All right, guys, so this weather's been a little bit less cooperative than I've wanted it to be. It's supposed to have another snowstorm coming in 2 days, and my side of town's supposed to get hit worse than the north side of town. So I'm gonna try and get as much work in as I can, but I don't know what all I'm gonna get done. I've been trying to get back on this thing, but it's been so cold and rainy and snowy, and we don't typically get that down here, so I don't know what the hell's going on. But I did wind up putting my Audi engine back together, my spare 2.7, and I started building the Impala engine. So at least I've been able to do a little bit of stuff, but I'm gonna get back to work on the Veloster. So I wound up putting the 2.7 back together. I still gotta put timing belt on it, but started building it. And then I put the heads back on the Impala. All right, everybody, so I've got all the welding on the front end of the car done, except for a couple little patch panels that I got to put in on the side of the frame rails, and I'm trying to cut them up right now. So I'm just gonna show a time lapse of me getting these fit. Once I get these fit, then I gotta take the front subframe off and the struts, sandblast the entire front of the car, and then prime and paint it, and then I can start putting all the parts back on it. So I just wanted to pause the video and interrupt it a little bit to show you why I'm making this bracket the way that I'm making it. So I left it with that little tab on there so that I can hold it while I'm welding it. And then once I get it tack welded in, then I'll cut this tab off right there, and only this piece will be left. All right, guys, so I thought I was done with all the welding on the front of this car, but I forgot that I still have to make these front panels that go right here and right there. So I started putting the wiring harness back in it. I'm going to put everything back in the front end and put the engine back in there, and then put the fenders and front end on it so that I can design those front panels for the car. So I need to design these panels that go right here that fill in behind the headlights. So I'm trying to put the whole wiring harness back in here. I'm going to put the brake booster back in, clutch master cylinder. I'll put the heater box in it. I'm not going to put the dash back in it, but I am going to put everything inside of the engine bay in here so that I can make sure I have clearance for all my wiring and control boxes and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm going to time lapse getting this freaking motor back in here and getting all the components back in here. I forgot to start filming before I put the wiring harness back in here, but it is what it is. All right, everybody, so I just got the whole front of the car back together. So now I need to try and make these front panels for behind the headlights. So I got to make a panel. You'll be able to see when I get down here in the fender well. So I got to make a panel for right there. And I got to do the same thing on the other side. The other side's going to be a little bit more complicated because I got the ABS module there. So I'm going to have to make a panel for right there. And I think I'm going to make it to where I can fit that ABS module right where it is. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of fabrication to make that one work. But I think it'll turn out pretty good. As long as it won't interfere with my steering. So I gotta lower the car back down on the ground and turn the wheels and make sure it's not going to interfere. All right, guys, I think that's where I'm going to end this video. I still need to do rear brake pads on my Audi. So I'm running out of daylight and I got to go to work tomorrow morning. So next video on the Veloster should have the 2 front panels made and all the other components that I just put back on it removed so that I can sandblast, prime, seam seal, and paint the whole entire front end. And then I'll put everything back in it and the whole front of the car will be completely done. I'll have the steering column in there, the dashboard, the whole 9 yards. I'll have every single piece of the front of the car together. And then I'll move on to the back and start fitting the rear section of the floor pan and hopefully getting the gas tank and all that in there so that I can actually crank the engine over. So thanks for checking out the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next video. Have a great one.